Hello. Um, Still December 18th. Well, I want to teach you guys something a little bit about photography. While we're here, I have one thing I learned about being a good photographer is that to make someone a little better, you have to make sure that the light is even on your subject. So right now you'll notice that right here, I have even light on my face. Now if I turn on this above light, um, it's less flattering because it creates these shadows that make me look, I guess, not as artistic or whatever, okay, or aesthetically pleasing because the skin is not as even. But now with this, what I have done is I'm using a vertical screen because I know that sometimes most viewers are going to be watching this on their cell phones and it takes advantage of the full screen. But at the same time, there are people who sometimes view on a widescreen TV. I think that both orientations are kind of cool. And I like to mix it up. So right now I'm using 3 techniques, okay? Even exposure on the face. Now if you take a look around, I have the windows over here letting in natural light, and then I have these lights over here letting in natural light. And so it's a very thoughtful process to get even exposure. And my tripod's kind of not working properly, but so the idea of even exposure can make anyone who has a good diet and is in tune with the signals of how hungry they are, make them look good on camera. And right now I'm attempting to make myself look good on this camera, and you know, it might be working. It might be working, and maybe not. Maybe some people have the opinion they're not. But so 3 techniques: even exposure, and keeping the camera above the nose. So right now the camera is right here, so it comes down, and so because it's above the nose, it makes me look better. Like instead of a double chin, unless I want to portray someone as scary or something, you know, it's always good to stay above the nose. Especially there are even actresses who demand in their contracts that you can only use a prime lens, which kind of blur. It's a softer lens, so you don't see too many details. And so have stay above the nose, even exposure on skin. And a third thing that I'm doing is background awareness. Background awareness is interesting because I have a very busy background right now. And what I have to do is I have to, if I were to talking to you like this would be a bad composition. But if I go right here and I kind of block with my head these 2 items, and it's not bad, but like that, it would be bad. So it's a tricky thing to get good background awareness, and you don't want what's called a merged background. And although occasionally I do have a merged background, I know that I can control it by getting closer to the camera or further. I'm not going to obsess with the details. The important thing is the whole idea of having, if you want to shoot a film, you have to have background awareness. See right, see the little no background awareness, background awareness makes a big difference. Now I'm not really using like the rule of thirds, maybe a little bit, but if you don't use a rule of thirds, you're here in the middle. But rule of thirds is kind of like, this is a rule of thirds, but sometimes you have, for background awareness, you have to break it. Rule of thirds would be right here, but you kind of just let, rule of thirds is right there. So you kind of just let the situation, you have to have adaptability as a photographer. So So, background awareness, exposure on the skin, stay above the nose, and composition, have some flexibility. Although I'm not using, probably this is more like the rule of thirds right here. I'm going down here because the background of the room ultimately allows me to decide that this is a better choice, composition wise. Now, if I want to create stress in the scene, I kind of look over here. But if I want to stay open to the frame, I kind of look this way a little bit. So anyway, I'm actually going to be, I'm actually launching, I'm in pre-production of a project now called The Flow and the Glitch. And I'm pretty excited about it. This project I've been developing, I'd say probably since April of 2019. And it's evolved a lot. And this is the project where I decided that I kind of came into bloom as a filmmaker, because I've been making films, short films, and teaching film. And for a long time, I kind of knew what I was doing. I kind of knew what I wanted, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And now I feel like I finally have the skill set to make the film that I want. And what is the film that I want, or what is the project that I want, is my philosophy of storytelling, is that storytelling should be magic. Like visual effects, in my opinion, or most people's opinion, aren't really that effective anymore, because those effects could be done on anyone's phone. I mean, you give them that background, you can integrate yourself into any effect. It'll look like you're flying or whatever. So the thing is magic in filmmaking is really about giving the audience like a high level of delight. And the flow and the glitch, the flow glitch series that I'm making, I struggle a lot because it's so difficult to decide to go into production on something. It's difficult because it's such a draining effort. And the writing, the architecture for the project has to be good. And it has to be like, you're not playing games. Like, you have to tell a good story. And I finally got to the point where I feel like I can. So, thank you for joining me on this journey. Today is December 18th, 2019. It's 9:16 a.m. And I've got a couple phone calls for my birthday. My mom called me, my dad called me, my sister called me, my girlfriend hung out with me a little bit today, and my two boys kissed me and brought me a little handmade card. And I feel like this is my home. I'm like existing in this physical space, in this manner. And I'm a part of the universe, right? And these people are my home. They brought me into this world, and they grew up with me, and my kids have turned out to be my best friends. And the friendship that maybe I always kind of sometimes had, like, but when they're your children, you learn that if you learn how to listen to them and respect them and be in tune with them, that your children really are destined to be your best friends. And that's difficult to do as a parent. It's difficult to find that balance. But I do believe it's can be done. It can be taught how to do it. And a lot of it involves just kind of like abandoning everything you believe about how you were raised as a kid. And right now, I'm in my kids' room um, because in a way they're like these little cherubs, and we brought them into this world and in this universe and outer space, and this is kind of like the little dollhouse that I created for them, and the little bed. And they don't each have their own room; they share a room. And this experience, like growing up in the same room and learning how to get along, is part of their human journey. I don't want them apart. I want them helping one another and connecting with one another every day. And my kids are so different from one another. And I love both of them. I'm overwhelmed by my love for the kids, my kids. And like I said, once you learn like a love for your own children, it teaches you the value of other kids. You see the parent, and you see yourself, and then you see and you feel the love that parent has for their kid. And then when you see that, you feel sort of like a distant love for all kids. And and so being a parent has been one of my greatest lessons as a human, because my kids aren't like me at all. I mean, they really are very different from me, and I'm very happy. I'm very blessed to have them. And I say this on my birthday because I think it's important to like recognize what you have and be in that moment, and that gratitude is my happiness, and the happiness would not have been possible without the struggle that I had to have this life. And the struggle, it's like you don't wish that upon anyone. You don't wish bad upon anyone. And all I can say is that my struggle has made me empathetic, and has made me feel maybe like what the homeless person feels, and feel maybe what like the brokenhearted feel, and what the lonely feel like, and what the triumphant feel like, and what the overcompensator feels like. Because I've been all of that. And the whole thing has just been learning to me. And that learning has given me a range of emotions that have taught me about what flows and how it works. And so, anyway, goodbye.